Hello. I think I'm now live on both Facebook and Instagram. I'm happy with my Instagram. There we go. People can see it better on Facebook. Hello, good evening. I am Rachel, teacher, healer, author, and modern mystic. So this evening, I'm doing my Friday night live, and this is a new thing that I'm doing, which is maybe just to focus tool. Oh, hey, Nikki, a different tool that you can use yourself at home in order to help yourself healing wise, spiritually, all of that wonderful wholeness stuff. And so this is the first evening where I'm doing that. And I really want this to be, and the intention is for it to be really interactive. So I would like you guys to share your own experiences. You can pop comments up. You can ask questions, all of that type of thing. And the reason why the tarots come up at the moment is because that's where my focus is. I've got a course starting in just under 2 weeks now, which is a really wonderful course that I'm doing with my friend David. You've seen David on here probably a couple of times if you're regular. And the course came about because David and I have done a couple of live ones where we've been physically sat down with people. And of course, we can't kind of do that at the moment. So we decided to do something where we could both teach in a way that we used to, but we could do that online. And for us, a course, and it's a bi-weekly, a fortnightly course, where you've got, and it's 8 lessons. And the idea is to really delve deep into the cards, to really deepen your relationship. So the idea is that it's for beginners and people already on their pathway looking to turn professional, because you can go on a weekend course, you can go on a day course, but what David and I felt from doing that in the past is it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for you to really understand your relationship with the cards. And the other thing is, it's not just about learning the cards. It's about understanding your connection to the cards and understanding your personal connection into the tools as a divination tool, as a messenger for spirit. And, you know, you can get lots of courses out there that will teach you the basic meanings of the cards over a day or over a weekend, and the basic meanings of those cards. The other thing that we found was that there wasn't psychic work being taught out alongside it. Hey, Jackie. And if you're using a divination tool such as the tarot, then, hey, Naz, then, you know, a divination tool such as the tarot, really what you need to also be using is your psychic ability, is your spiritual connection, in order to bring through a message, and a good message as well. So there are courses out there where you will just learn the meanings and you won't learn how to connect into the cards, where even the people teaching the courses don't use their psychic gift or a psychic connection. I think it's probably hard not to use that, but for me, it's absolutely essential and imperative that you're taught about your spiritual connection, because you need to learn to connect into the right place, to draw on the information from the right place, because it's really easy for your ego to override and step into a message that you're giving someone. It's really easy for your own stuff on your own healing journey, on your own journey with spirit, to come out in your reading and to flavor that. So it's really essential that you learn to connect into the right place in order to give a message from that same place. From experience, and talking to other readers and talking to people who've gone out and had readings, I'd really like to know if anyone watching has had this before, where people get told some really dramatic stuff, which to me is kind of immoral, because you've got free will, and the whole point of the reading is to sit down and go, this and this is happening, so you kind of need to learn to work around this, or what are we going to do, what can you do to prepare yourself for this, if you know, depending what's coming up and what's happening and what's changing. And you know, I've had people come to me and say, I've just been for a reading and I've been told that I am going to, yeah, Naz has just said, always about interpretation and how interpret what comes through. Absolutely. And it's really interesting, because what one person will pick up in a reading is not what somebody else will, and that's perfect. It's exactly the way we're meant to work, which is why it's so important that interpretation is done for the best interest and for the highest good of the person that you're sat with. And the other thing that you kind of need to, that sometimes need to take into account, is that we're setting intentions sometimes for people. This particular person who I spoke to about being told that they were going to have an affair, they actually started to worry who they were going to have the affair with. They then started to go through their message. Could it be this guy? Could it be this guy? And actually what she said to me was that she was, hi Claire, that she was, oh my gosh, I'm actually creating this situation. I'm actually looking for the person. And there was an inclination, well, shall I just text this person? Shall I see if there's anything there? Is this right? And she realized actually what she was doing was making sure that this version of the future that somebody had told her was going to happen. And I think we need to be really careful as readers, and it's something that we talk about, that we don't tell somebody this is how it's going to happen. You talk to them about what might be coming up and how they can work with that and understand that. See, Naz has just said herself, absolutely. And those are the things that we kind of want to be careful, and that's the sort of thing that David and I have come across, and we've got a special add-on at the end of the course, which is a professional lesson. Those are the sorts of things that we've both of us have come across some shocking stuff, and you know, it doesn't matter what industry you walk in, and I think the spiritual industry gets a bad rap for it. You're going to get people who are out there because if they create a bit of drama and create a bit of fuss and give you the show that you want, that you're likely to give them money for it. And that happens no matter what walk of life you're in. My background is finance, and I can tell you, and you are probably well aware, that there are more than enough people who are just out for money in finance. And that happens no matter what walk of life, what industry you're in. And I expect all of you guys know yourself, that you know that from your own working life, that there's certain people who've got morals and certain people who haven't. And that's just the way it works. So we've got some really fun stories to talk about bad experiences and what to do. And through those experiences that David and I have learned about and heard about and experienced ourselves, it's actually enabled us to be better readers and to pass out information to people so that they can give good, decent readings and kind of bring your standard up. If your standard's high, then you're going to get recommended. If you create a bit of drama and you know, you may be saying things without necessarily thinking through what you're about to say to somebody or the impact that it can have, then you know, then that's something that needs tweaking. If you're going to give professional readings, that's something that needs tweaking, and that's something that we talk about. And my personal belief is that we'll all got the intuition. It may be something that we're interested in developing, or we may not be. And those of us that are interested in developing, what we may find is that we want gift for ourselves and to know what's going on with us, or we may wish to actually offer that out professionally. And all of that is wonderful. All of that stuff's meant to happen, and that's just the way it is. So it's there's loads of different pathways that we can all take when we're looking to use cards and to connect into cards as divination tools. Emma has said the TikTok tarot readers are doing her head in, suggesting if you see the message, it's for you. See about 15 a day. Hey Eloise, it's it's interesting because people have mentioned to me about doing TikTok when it really first started, and it just didn't, there was something about where it looked fun, and I really loved the idea of watching other people's fun videos, but it didn't kind of feel right for what I did. And it still doesn't feel right. And actually talking to a friend who's in marketing, she was like, no, like you've really got to make sure that things suit your brand. So even from a marketing perspective, a really logical marketing perspective, she was like, no, be really, really careful, be really choosy about whether or not Reels and TikToks and the way that you do them are going to suit you and the work that you do. And personally, I take my work really seriously. Like, don't get me wrong, there's always the edge of fun and laughter and groundedness, all of that stuff comes in. Hey, Ruby. But for me, that's a sacred connection. My connection into the divine is sacred, and I respect it. And I wish for those that come, and the intent that is set for those that come and sit with me, that they have that same respect for their connection and for my connection as well. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure we've all been there when we first started out, and how juicy and fun it is when you first start getting into psychic stuff and you first start getting readings. I know from personal experience, I'd love to hear your personal experiences of your first readings or how you first got into it. My stuff was all watching TV shows like Jonathan Edwards and Colin Fry were my two big favorite shows that I watched. And I would just watch the repeats, all of that sort of stuff. And then from it was all of like the haunted shows, Taps, if anyone has ever watched Taps. And I also used to really love watching Most Haunted and Yvette Fielding screaming the house down. So, and I still like watching stuff like that. That is the fun and the show. And a lot of those shows, although I will say like Jonathan Edwards and particularly Colin Fry, had a huge amount of respect for their connection, and you could tell by the way that they spoke and held the space within that studio. The other stuff is done because it's hand up and it's fun, and there's plenty of people out there who might want to go to, for example, the ghost hunting evenings, and they're fun. Like, they are fun. One of them screaming, it's probably going to be me just jumping at somebody else touching my arm who's one of my mates. All of that stuff's loads and loads of fun. Naz just said she started out reading at psychic fairs. Yeah, absolutely. Like, psychic fairs are a great sort of ground for cutting your teeth and getting experience, and that type of thing. Lakshmi, specific questions can be asked, absolutely. If I can, about the topic and all of that type of thing, absolutely. So it's really interesting how we kind of get into it. And oh, Lakshmi, I'm not doing readings, sweetheart. I'm not doing readings. I'm talking about you using tarot and how all of us have used maybe tarot and oracle cards for our own personal connection. So I'm not doing readings this evening. So the I'll just get back into my flow. I'm a read from the book kind of person. Expand on that a little bit, Emma. I expand on that. I'm going to come back to Naz's point about psychic fairs. They're great because you can kind of go around and dip into everything. And when I first started out, I was all into readings, and healing wasn't necessarily on my radar. And I'm a complete cynic, actually. Like, I'm really cynical, and I'm really evidence-based. That evidence is based on logic and personal experience. That's where it comes from. And if you're into quantum physics, there's a huge amount of logic that goes behind healing work and that type of thing. So it's a really good space for going around and going, oh, and also reading into other readers' energies and going, I feel a connection there. Like, I feel that that's the right person to have a reading from today. All of that stuff's really important. And when I first started out doing proper readings, professional, then I started out doing some fairs locally. And you know, it really builds your confidence up when you end up with a cue, when you end up with that type of thing. So I'm just gonna, I know that I'm being seen, which is perfect. So I would take being seen, but I will block and delete you, sir. And actually, thank you, Umar Farooq. I'm going to leave that comment up there for anyone who's on Facebook, because somebody's actually spammed my page, and for me, it's rude. Like it's not something to do to another person in everyday life, and it's also shown me that he's got no respect for his own connection, because he's got no respect for somebody else's connection. And that way of going out and grabbing people, that way of sort of going out and trying to grab, also tells you about what sort of equality and drama. Just going to move my phone. Hopefully I have better reception there for Instagram. Sorry, Instagram guys, moved you so you hopefully get a bit more of that. That if people are having to go out and grab business, that they probably haven't got repeat customers, and also it probably give you an idea of the style of reading. So if you want something to be dramatic and big, and for somebody to predict your death, which happens, which people do, you know, I can't think of anything worse, which people do, then absolutely, then that's the sort of I've got a completely different understanding of my connection, of my gift. And because it is a gift, I want it to be treated as such. I treat it as a gift, and that's what I encourage other people to treat their personal connections as, because we do all have those personal connections. So it's all about you using your personal connection in the right way. Emma has said she struggles with the psychic bit. If she pulls a card, she tries for a bit to sit and see if she feels anything, but eventually just the book comes out with it. That's fine, Emma. That's what the book is there for. That's what the book is there for. So, you know, it's that you need that little bit of help. So, you know, the thing about oracle cards is that they're easier to read, and the message is quite often there and quite often clear. Like I've got a really beautiful set of Kuan Yin, which might be off my bedroom now, of Kuan Yin cards, which is really nice. There's a normally a meditation and a healing to do around it. It's really nice. It kind of gives you some help with your blocks. It's all about personal compassion and that type of thing. But obviously I've been using cards for a really long time, and I've been working with cards and giving professional readings for a really long time as well. So like the other thing that I want people to understand is that when you start out, that's absolutely what you will be doing. You will be double checking yourself. You will be second guessing yourself. All of that stuff's okay and expected. And it's, I kind of was thrown in at the deep end by my teacher who said, oh, I'm going to go along and do some healings and angel card readings. Do you want to come along to a fair and help me? I was like, yeah, okay. What I didn't realise was that things, and it was a little evening fair, just a couple of hours, but I literally had a queue out the door, which really boosted my confidence, because I just felt like I was making it all up. And it's, you know, that's where you think it's coming from. I must be making this stuff up. And you realise that actually you're not, you're channeling is what you're actually doing. So it's, everyone works differently as well, Emma. So understanding, and that's something we discussed on the course, is where your clair is, whether you're clairvoyant, which you see and you visualize, clairaudient, you might hear and pick up on, even your inner monologue, that knowing, which for me is the channeling, where you're just opening your mouth and speaking. The feeling, where you're feeling into a situation, it feels like this emotionally around you at the moment, and everyone's connection is different. And equally, some people will struggle to connect through a card. They might actually need the connection there. Eloise has said she can't wait for the tarot course to start. Yay! I read for others when I was in my late teens, but got scared. Looking forward to regaining my confidence and reading for others. And that's actually really, really important, because when you're younger, there is that fear, and that can bring an edge to the readings that you do. So absolutely, for me, that's like a really sensible thing, which is to step away from it. And actually, you're being naturally drawn back to it. Bye, Naz. Thank you. Thanks for joining, Naz. And actually stepping back into it when it's right for you is really, really important. And just as you see Eloise there. Hi, I'm not, again, I'm not doing live readings. These aren't live readings. We're talking about tarot, so if you want to join in that conversation, please, you're more than welcome. Emma said it would help if others let me practice, and I'm not joking. About 99% of the friends I've asked have refused because they're terrified she suddenly reveals something awful they don't want to know. And actually, it's really interesting because for me, nothing awful ever comes up. It's totally to do with the way that it's delivered, and that's something again we talk about on the course, is how do you deliver that difficult stuff. And you know, I've had friends who've picked up on stuff with other people, being really pleased about what they've picked up on, but not thought about how they've delivered it, and picked up on some really traumatic events in that person's life, and that person has become really upset. And it was in a learning environment, so it's absolutely the place to kind of make those mistakes and get stuff wrong. Well, what it taught her was that actually just thread through your mind what you're getting, because you're coming in at it from such a high, Sabine, you're coming in at it from such a high level that sometimes you've got that emotional removal that you have from the spiritual realms, which is that they see everything as a beautiful experience of expansion, even when we're still working through stuff and still trying to get our own head around it. So using that second filter is a really important thing when you're doing readings. So Emma has just said maybe it's her, maybe she's too intimidating. And Emma's got loads of offers for if anyone wants to join up. What I will be doing is I'll be opening up one of my groups. I'm not 100% sure which one yet, for people who have done their courses through me to practice their readings and to offer out practice readings. I'm not too sure whether it's going to be in the student group or on Spiritual Chit Chat. I haven't quite made my mind up, but there is certainly, I think, that area for us to be able to kind of like have some fun with the cards and practice the connection in a safe space. And I set a really strong intent on all of my groups that they're safe spaces for everyone to be in and to express themselves from a space of understanding and truth and beauty and all of that. So like Emma, you're probably, like, energy wise, if I feel into your energy, you're probably somebody who probably would get some of the tougher stuff would come through, because you kind of deal with things in a different way. You're quite head on when you deal with stuff, and that's an amazing talent to have. And what you will actually find is that when you get that stuff through for people, what you'll be able to say is, actually, the way that you need to deal with this going forward, or the way that I can see you deal with this going forward, is this, this, and this. Or, you know, it's all to do with the delivery and to do with understanding that you're not there to deliver dramatic bad news, which is what a lot of people associate with sometimes in a tarot reading. It's that drama, which really, for me, I personally want to step well away from. It's enabling and empowering. You've got to think of your readings as being something where you're empowering the people that you're giving the messages to, so that they can come away going, do you know what? That's going to happen. And it would have happened whether that person was giving you a reading or not. And actually, they're going to be in a far more powerful position once they walk away from you. And that's how you've got to think about those things. And even as you gain your confidence, as you move forward, people are going to be able to give you that feedback that's, you're going to go, okay, I have delivered that, hi Izzy, in a way that somebody else is really going to appreciate and understand that I'm helping them. I'm not being dramatic. I'm helping them and giving them a way forward. And what I tend to do is go, this, you kind of feel this is going to happen, but it's going to lead into this, this, and this. So looking past this bubble of difficulty and seeing what else is coming through on the other side. That's one of the reasons why when I do one-to-one readings with people, they're an hour, because I need to be able to get all of the information out. And I do it, my personal style is my personal style, and it's not a way that's taught. And that's something that David and I are really hot on, which is actually, we want you to be able to speak and to read from your own personal style, to develop your personal style. That's really, really important, to step in and to get through the information that you do, because that's for me the magic. Your magic of your readings is going to be in the way that you read. It's going to be in your style. So tuning into what feels right for you and works right for you, and chucking out some stuff and bringing in some stuff and trying things out, all comes with experience. So the more you practice, Emma has asked if this will be the only one this year. Yeah, it is likely to be the only one this year. I tend to do one kind of like psychic development tarot style course a year, and that's normally due to some and things, and we're really busy. But I don't know if the energy has kind of changed, and because of everything that's happened with COVID and recession and all of that, Brexit, all of that fun stuff, everyone's in a very different mindset. The abundance mindset. I was doing my books from last year, and I was like, gosh, the abundant energy that was around last year is very, not last year, the year before, is very, very different to what we've moved into. So where in an abundant year I might have done 2, I'm not going to do that this year, because it's like people are struggling to afford stuff, and people aren't necessarily signing up in the way that they did before, and that's fine. Like that's all good. That's just the way it is at the moment. So it's, I have to adjust myself to work with that. Angela said, I have readers who are more like counselors and coaches, and I love them. Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that that's something that we all need to bear in mind when we read for someone. Angela, you've absolutely hit the nail on the head, is that people take away the guidance and take away what you're giving them, and they're going to plan their next 6 months or the next year based around what you've given them. So it's really important that you do it from a place of sincerity and a place of understanding your responsibility, that your responsibility does end in one way when they walk out the door. Like, you don't have to nurture them through the next 6 months or the next year. Like, that's not your job. But your responsibility within that session is to deliver something that is really going to work with them and is really going to hit home, and empower them over the next 6 months. You know me, I'm all about empowering other people through information. That's just the way I function. So my readings really do delve into that and bring that up. I would really love to hear if you guys have got any specific questions about reading, about psychic connection, any of that type of thing. I would really love to hear. I mean, like, Emma's obviously spoken about her when she's given readings, but if you're somebody who maybe uses cards within your home or for yourself on a regular basis, what difference that's made to your life. Like I said, my favorite deck at the moment for me to personally use is a Kuan Yin deck, because it really connects me into that strong divine feminine energy all around compassion and personal compassion, because personal compassion is something that I've really struggled with. So Kuan Yin brings me back into that space. And the deck is really nice. It's really easy to follow. The images are beautiful. It's not one of those ones where you've kind of got half writing, half image. It's one of those ones where it's all image, and then you read in the book. And it just loves a beautiful, this spiritual connection. But I think it's Rebecca Fairchild, it might be. Eloise has just asked a favorite deck, and at the moment the Kuan Yin deck is my favorite deck for me to personally use. I don't think it's something that I'd want to give readings from. I haven't got a problem giving readings from oracle cards, because the connection's my connection above anything else. I'm just trying to see which other decks I really enjoy using. What's really interesting is that I've got 2 sets of tarot. I've got my original Rider-Waite tarot, which is the first thing that I picked up years ago when I started to develop myself and get all the cards out on my floor and all of that type of thing. But a friend actually it's my husband's friend, but he's my friend now. He sent this over for me from Oz. Like he's amazing. So this is such a nice deck, and what I really like about it is, because I'm old and I don't want to learn everything new again, is that when if you understand, I'll get it across for the Insta guys to see it as well, that the images on it are really similar to the original tarot. So it's not so dissimilar that I need to relearn everything, but it kind of gives it another edge. It just feels a little bit more modern. And it also embraces the wise woman, which is for me the witch, the wise woman. It embraces that empowerment. It embraces also the shadow self. And you all know that I'm big on the shadow self. I'm doing that dark work that we need to within ourselves, and not hiding away from the parts of ourselves that we're not particularly happy with. So I really really love that deck. When I want to do a full personal reading for myself, that's the deck that I use. But I literally have an adoration for my original Rider-Waite. Like, it is my best friend. I was telling it recently how much abundance it's given me, you know, from like about a £15 deck. Like, it has given me so much, and I truly love that deck. I truly love it. She's a wise old woman is that deck. Other, like the Kuan Yin is a favorite. Actually, Eloise, what I've got next to my bed at the moment are your cards, your money cards, and the Kuan Yin deck. Those are the two that are next to my bed as I pull them out on a regular basis. The other deck that I would recommend, if I can find them, this is the original deck, is Caroline Mitchell's. If I can get into the Dragon deck. Let me in. Now I can't get them out. I'll just show you the front of them. It would help if I had them the right way out. Get them over for the Insta guys as well. Okay, it's all been repackaged now, but that's a really nice deck. I actually find the dragons talk to me and give me individual messages. And the other deck that does that for me, Doreen Virtue, before she became a born-again Christian, you know, this stuff was good. When Doreen was doing it and she was at her height, this stuff was good. And this is a Saints and Angels deck. And this is really nice because I've got a Catholic upbringing. So, you know, the saints still do resonate with me and give me messages. And I love to receive the messages from the saints. And there's also a really nice, this is nice as well, which is a Kyle Gray Angel Prayers deck. But again, connecting into the angel. What message has that individual got for me at this time? Why are they coming through for me? Are they sitting around as a master guide? Have they come in for one message? There's so much that you can take out of these where you're connecting into the individual. And for me, these are a jump to connect into somebody in the same way as anything else. And actually, Naz, who was on the Insta thread earlier, she's got a really wonderful power animal book, and that's another thing that you can use in the same way as the cards. Flick through who's got a message for me today, where does the page fall open, as well as interpreting messages that go on around you in your life. So there's lots of different ways that you can use the tools around you. And I do like, I have got animal card decks as well. And the animal card decks, again, I read in the same way. Why has a deer come through for you today? Why has a badger come through to you today? The badger, what message does it have? What is it channeling through me? What does it want to say? With the animals, they tend to come in more emotionally as opposed to downloads, which you tend to get from the angels and the saints. You tend to get like a block of download. Emma has said, what do you like using in conjunction with the cards? Do you crystals out? The gift that I'm giving as the early bird bonus for those that signed up earlier for the course is a set of divining crystals that I'm going to channel in and tune in, like Third Eye and Crown, because they do help boost the energy. Something that I used to do was always to meditate before somebody came in, and I'd do some channeled writing for them, maybe about 10 minutes worth before somebody came in to see me. I find my connections a lot easier now. My talents have changed in many ways, and I used to be very visual, very visual. The more I embraced and understood, because it's not something that's taught out. Those of us that are empaths and feel first and foremost, you're going to struggle to get somebody who's going to teach you about using those emotional gifts. And that's something that David and I both really strongly recognized in each other, and we've recognized in other people that we've worked with as well and helped facilitate, is that the emotional connection and understanding that the more that I was allowed myself, because I tuned out of what I've been trained into myself, my own intuition, the more I tuned into my empathy and my emotions, the more everything kind of slotted in. And I actually end up using visualization, clairaudience, the clairvoyance, clairaudience, clair-knowing, and I even get sense and smells in. All of that stuff comes in now, because I tune in first and foremost with my greatest strength, and everything else comes in and backs it up. So crystals will absolutely help boost your energy, absolutely. I have a very way out deck. Do I need something simpler as a beginner? Not necessarily, Angela. If it suits your energy, the Wildwood Tarot. I love the Wildwood Tarot, Angela. Love the Wildwood Tarot. It's beautiful. If you haven't seen it, Google the images. They're just wonderful. So no, like if that's what you want to use it, because like I just said to you, like I don't want to relearn a whole set of tarot. My baby, which is my tarot deck, has been with me for years. Like, I don't want to relearn that now. So you know, yeah, like get a deck that really resonates with you and just learn it. For me, the tarot, doesn't matter which version of tarot you use, the tarot gives you such precise information. It gives you a wealth of knowledge. It gives you so much more information than the oracle deck cards. The oracle cards are absolutely perfect for an emotion, a feeling, a message at home, or to back up. That quite often I would let people choose a card from an oracle deck to go alongside their tarot reading, just to give it another edge and to make them feel more part of the reading as well. So yeah, for me the tarot gives the most precise information. It's also very grounded. There's a very grounded feeling about it, about bringing it into reality, and the Wildwood Tarot is going to do that. Eloisa says she's got a few, but her fave is the Wild Unknown deck, which is a beautiful deck, absolutely. Eloisa said yes, she loves her dragon oracles too. More crystals, yay, absolutely. Emma has said she's found herself on Etsy recently looking at cards, and there's a whole world out there. Oh my god, Futurama cards, Barbie cards, a set called Bad Bitches, which are female deities. Like, I want that deck. Will not confirm or deny which one is on my shopping list. Really interesting. I was talking to a friend. There's a few. I'm really heavily into my blog at the moment. So if you're not on my blog, get listed on my blog. I'm really heavily onto it at the moment. I'm really kind of like getting involved in the community. And there's a young witch, spells it WYTCH, which I love, on there, who shared some of her images of her altar and this type of thing. And she has got like a pop culture part to her altar, which is brought up these ideas for me. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, like, who is it that we worship? Like, do I worship RuPaul and Judge Judy? Maybe, yes, absolutely, I do. I sit there, and those are my shows that I like to indulge myself in. What do you spend your energy? What do you, in terms of popular culture, worship and pour your energy into? So that Barbie one and that Futurama, like, geez, I'm a massive Futurama fan, like a massive Futurama fan. So you know, that to me sounds good. So that the idea of pop culture coming in and making it more real and making it more tangible, and allowing youngsters to really understand their gift, because, you know, let's face it, the Rider-Waite isn't the most modern of cards. Like, I am somebody who very happily would sit around talking about the aesthetics of a teapot at the beginning of the 19th century with, I don't know, the 20th century, end of the 19th century, people like Oscar Wilde, or, you know, that type of thing, or with you know, Waite, you know, all of that stuff. That's what I would have loved to have done. I can see myself having done that. You know, Bram Stoker circle, you know, all of that. I can see myself doing all of that. So the images on the Rider-Waite deck for me are really wonderful. And you know, I can't remember the lady's name, but the lady who actually drew those images, they're amazing. If you ever do some research into her, she's a wonderful human being. But for a lot of people, they're not going to resonate. And if I was younger, would I feel like they were a bit too dark? And maybe I might feel they're a bit too dark. And certainly people feel that they're maybe a bit too witchy. If you don't realize that actually the word witch simply means wise woman, that, you know, midwife, all of that type of thing, and that witches were persecuted by the Christian church as a form of keeping women suppressed. So, you know, stay in your place, woman. So if you've still got that idea around the word witch, there's certainly some female suppression within yourself that you probably need to heal. I'm just saying. Angela's gone great, but she can't work out the suits. Part of the course, Angela. As part of the course, it doesn't matter what deck you've got, we will work out the suits for you. So don't worry about that in the slightest. Giggly face from Angela. Jackie has found a Kickstarter tarot deck called Botanica. Oh, totally her. So she purchased it. I'm wondering if it's all botanical drawings. Like, I literally want to Google it this second. I'm very much into like botanical drawings, and I follow a really wonderful, beautiful. It's all of these beautiful images of the plant energy that she's going to work with. She draws it out and does energetic work for people around it. Just beautiful stuff. So I'm wondering if it's on that vibe. Yes, it is. Yes, love it, love it. Again, there's a very frustrated botanical drawer within me. It's the sort of thing that I very secretly did during my teenage years. I was a very secret nerd. Nobody got to see that side of me. I did a very good job of fitting in. Yeah, if anyone has got any other specific questions, please ask. But what I'd really like to leave you guys with is just the knowledge that you are the channel. So we have such massive freedom. We're talking about this now, that massive freedom with what type of a deck resonates for you, how you do your readings. And as long as you respect your gift and respect your connection, and the person in front of you respect them, and they do the same in turn, that's all the intent that you need. That's all you need, that energy around your readings and around what you're doing. So for me, that personal connection is so important. And that personal interpretation. I've actually had people, and I've had it said to me, no, what you're meant to do, how you're meant to interpret this is, this exercise is meant to get you to interpret it this way. And I'm like, well, I don't work that way, so I'm not going to interpret it that way. And like, keep my mouth shut about it, because I'm not going to say that to my teacher. And David doing the same thing at the same time, and afterwards us both going, look, why would you, what difference does it make? Like, we all work in different ways, we all feel energy in different ways. Emma's asked, what's my favorite shuffle method? I literally shuffle the cards. It's interesting because Eloise and I recently had a conversation about cards being too big, and then you're trying to shuffle them and then just going all over the floor. Shall I show off my shuffling method? If I was reading face-to-face for somebody, what I used to do was to allow people to choose the cards for me, unless they had a very strong energy, in which case they were going to pick out the cards and draw the cards which was going to give them the message that they wanted. And I learned that the hard way. And I would say to some people, no, I'm pulling the cards for you, but you let the last person pull them for themselves. Yes, I did, and that's because they're not you. So I tend to work that way, which is, you know, I'm happy for you to pull maybe a few cards, and I do the whole out thing for people to choose them. Eloise has just said size is so important, and I'm not going to go there, because all I've got kicking into place is the phrase. So literally, that's literally what I do, and I'll do that. Bang out the cards, get any old energy out of them, blow through them, get any old energy out of them. It's literally what I do. Okay, but that has taken me practice, and I will say I play piano, and you can see that's not even between the little finger. That's piano playing hands, where I've had to learn to stretch them anyway. You know, bless the old lady that used to teach me piano, because she used to teach me classical, and I really wasn't that interested in it. And I think it probably simply was to stretch my hands. So thank you to her. She's a wonderful old lady. I'm sure she's passed now. I'm sure she's listening in. She's doing a chaotic shuffle. They all fall to the floor, and the last card standing is the one. Do you remember that? Like, what was it? 52 card pickup. Do you want to play 52? And just like chucking the cards in the air. Funny joke. The way that I work when I'm doing the online readings with people is I shuffle them. Oh, and the card, this will be the next card to pull out. So this will be a card for somebody on here at the moment, the Knight of Swords. So yeah, interesting energy with the Knight of Swords. It is quite chaotic, very fast moving, for, you know, fast momentum. Think before you act, coming through in the card of Swords. So that's what I will do, is whatever's left over falls out as I'm shuffling will be the cards that I choose for people. And there is a lot of research onto the way that the cards are drawn to you and drawn for you through like law of attraction and that type of thing. So it is interesting. Swords, I know, Jackie, right? Swords, mind F of an energy, mind F. So swords are very interesting, loads of layers to swords. So what like if I was a croupier, I might better do the whole like something fancy with them, but I didn't go to, I only played piano. I didn't ever work at a casino. So there we go. That's my shuffling technique, which is literally just to shuffle them. But that does take practice with the bigger decks. You can get some much smaller decks, but for me, there isn't as like, you don't get as much on them. You can probably get some that are probably mid-size and will probably be a decent size. So don't go for them too small, because unless you really like them, because for me, the very small ones end up not being, there's just not enough information. Everything seems really crowded on them for me. And the other thing is that there is obviously links into a tarot deck and playing cards, because, you know, for a long time people would learn off the playing cards, and you would use playing cards because tarot was not easy to get hold of, and also it was either frowned upon in more recent years to probably have a deck in your house, or you might just get excommunicated or burned at the stake for being a witch. How dare you use your connection, woman? All of that type of Puritan vileness. Right, I am going to make a move. So I will pop onto the links. Yeah, no general readings. No, sorry, that's not what this is about. But thank you for joining. You're very welcome to rewind back and have a listen, because I'm finishing up now. But if you're interested in the course, we still do have a few spaces left. So you'll need to sort of make your decision probably over the next few days and sign up. I'll pop a link up there if you'd like to join. I'll put a link up for, thank you, Emma. I'll pop a link up if you would like reading as well, for the reading part of my site. If anyone fancies a reading, we are still in New Year energy. And in fact, as we're moving into Imbolc, what we're finding is that those of us where New Year really doesn't sit very well at all, me being one of them, like that energy doesn't ever seem right. It's always peed me off. New Year is always really peed me off. We're still in that Imbolc New Year energy, which is the new start, the start of spring, which we're moving into. So if you want your New Year reading, like now is actually a really good time, especially if New Year itself didn't sit with you. So I'll put some links up. Thank you, Eloise. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Angela, for joining. It was a nice evening, wasn't it? A nice catch up, which is what the energy that I want behind this stuff. Felt nice and chatty and fun. So I will love you and leave you. I have a takeaway sat waiting for me. If you are on catch up, like, please add your comments in. If you've got questions, not for readings, if you've got questions about the topic of tarot, then please, yeah, you're going. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Ruby. Thank you, guys. You're so lovely. yes, I'm going to go. That's it. I'm going. Bye, guys. Catch up. Please put your messages on and all the rest of it. Another one. Hello. Off you go. No respect for his connection or anyone else's. Quite a few of them like that. At least I'm being seen, which I'm more than happy with. So bye-bye. I will love you and leave you. And I will catch up with you all soon. It would be really nice to actually physically catch up with some of you, physically go and get a cup of tea and a coffee somewhere, maybe even treat ourselves to a cake and actually feel human again. Like, I would really love that. So I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye to Insta and bye-bye to Facebook.